Pretoria, grew up in Pretoria, studied at the University of Pretoria, and then I also went to school at Kiro College in Hazeldean, where I had subjects like accounting, business studies, and geography. Geography was my side subject because I found it interesting. And then hobby-wise, I love being a crafty person. I love doing things. I've taught myself how to do macrame. I do cross stitch, diamond dot, paint, puzzles, anything that doesn't require too much brain activity, because I feel like during the day you use all of your brain power and then you need something to switch off and just relax. So I grew up in a family business. I was 3 months old when we started the business. So all I ever knew was being here after school, all of that. And then I saw I was always the one looking at processes, being like, what can we improve? How can this be better? I feel like we can do this, develop this. And then when I started studying at university, the plan was actually tax. And then I had internal auditing as a subject, and I was like, this is exactly what I've been trying to do my whole life, is improve things. And then I fell in love with the subject, and after that I just decided that's the career path. So my advice is still a little, because I've only been in industry for 1.5 years now. But for me, the main thing is to, while you're young and there's not such pressure on you and you know your work's going to be checked and all of that, absorb as much as you can, take review notes seriously, develop yourself. This is the time that you have to do that. You are still new in the industry, you will make mistakes, there will be things you do not know. So just take this time to absorb the knowledge and take it in. So how I heard about it was mostly social media, Instagram and LinkedIn, because I was on the point of, I don't know how to start. I was freaking out. Will I know how to study? How will the exam be? Started looking on the internet. The references were very little. I looked at the client textbook and I was like, oh shit, I have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna fail. I started freaking out, and then I literally just searched, what can I do? And then I saw you guys and I was like, oh, I didn't know there is a place that actually offers tutoring for CIA. So then I messaged Beatrice, and long story short, then I started with WUD. The process of studying for CIA was challenging, I'm not gonna lie. I was used to being a full-time student. Studying, doing my work was the only thing that mattered to me. I could plan to study, rest how I wanted to. But with CIA, the first challenge was actually booking your exam date. Because you feel so intimidated by, okay, I have to be done by that day. Will I be able to get it done by the specific day? So that was my first challenge. And second challenge was working full time and then having that motivation to, after work, to actually open your book and study. Because you're tired, you don't actually feel like doing anything. And then you have to get into that mindset of, I need to do this. Okay. And then how did WUD help? Was the thing of, firstly, the tutors helped me stay motivated when I was feeling down and out and like I won't make it. They always told me, you're fine. And then the other thing is they gave me the insight on how to approach the exam, in the way of how the questions are going to look, how you're going to take the question on, how you're going to look at the options. And then in that way, it helped me prepare, because I knew how to study the work to enable me to be able to answer the actual exams. For me, WUD was more than just a tutor service. I built a relationship with my tutor during the 3 parts that I wrote. And she didn't just explain the work. Like, for example, she would also, during classes, give motivational speeches to just keep me going. And which I feel was really necessary, because in your CIA journey, it's not as if you're in university where you're a group of a class, you're all motivating each other, you're working together, it's you and you alone. So she just gave you that extra person motivation that sometimes you just need to keep pushing. And then also, WUD's tutoring service was a very caring service, because I had Beatrice as my tutor for most of the time, and she would send me WhatsApps, check in, how's it going, how are you doing on your studying tests, are you getting the marks that we're aiming for, all of that. And then also the work was explained practically, which was better for me in the sense of that the exam isn't a theory regurgitating information type exam. It's understand the work and apply it to a specific scenario. So by having the work explained to you in a practical manner instead of just explaining theory, that helped by being able to answer questions when it came to exam time. Being done, I have to say, is a huge relief, and all of those stress factors, because since you started after university, it's always been in the back of your head, okay, I want to get signed off after my 2 years of practical, but it always keeps in the back of your head that I still have to pass all 3 CIAs. So that was a thing that was a hurdle to me being a CIA, was just getting these exams done. So now being done, it gives me the opportunity to focus on growing myself as an internal auditor in my career, learning new things without the stress in the back of my mind of I still have to do CIA exams. For me, it was part 2, and mostly part 2 for the simple reason is it was my last one. I did part 1, 3, and then 2. So I felt like I was a bit out of the study routine by then. And the interpretation of part 2 is a bit more challenging. I feel like how you study the work and how it's presented in the textbooks isn't really the same as the exams. So you had to concentrate very hard in the exam to make sure that you don't get confused between aspects. And it's also, they would tell you in the textbook, in the CIA exam, they can use these 2 words interchangeably. So you have to keep that in mind the whole time, which is not the case in part 1 and 3. Definitely. I feel like CIA for a lot of students just getting out of university, starting as interns, even if you're in the big 4, it is very intimidating. And the first time you open that textbook, it feels like you won't pass any exam. And then, so it's a very unknown territory. You don't know how the exam's going to look, how to answer the questions. And I feel like for most of us in university, we got used to writing exam questions, and here's a multiple choice type exam. So it's a different way of thinking and doing. So it would really help me to give insight on how to prepare for those questions, how to approach them, and just to feel more confident on studying for the overall exams. About this journey is not to be too hard on yourself, because I feel like I pushed myself a bit too far, especially with the first one I wrote. I feel like I was 100% over prepared for that exam. I spent endless nights freaking out, studying. I think I knew almost every word in the book by the end of my study sessions. But that's just being too hard on myself. And for an 18-year-old self, is before going to university and going on this journey, is the pressure is a lot. It's a lot of work, but it's always worth it in the end. What's next for me is, so I might consider further studies, but not in the near future. I think for now I'm just going to be focusing on my career for a while. I think after 6 years of studying, I'm done for now. And then career-wise, I'm currently working in-house, and I would love to stay in-house for now, because with being in-house, I feel like you actually get to see the improvements that you recommended being implemented, whereas for a consulting firm, you just issue a report and move on. So I feel like I can make a bigger difference where I am now, and I love my job. So definitely going to be staying here for a while. And then also on the side, after building a good relationship with WUD Institute and all of their tutors, so I'm busy helping preparing slides and worksheets for the CIA classes, just as I built a good relationship with them. So I love working with them, and yeah. So I'm doing that also on the side.